So something pretty big dropped in the past few days. There's been a lot of talk about FF7 demo, and now a lot of things leaked about it. The intro for the demo, as well as, I guess, this is a little confusing to me. People with dev kits are playing the demo. Does that mean dev kits of the next generation system, or like what does that mean?
Maybe the
People with
original
dev kits.
PlayStation 4.
Yeah, the original PS4 dev kit that people are still using now.
That's
maybe.
Like,
I don't know.
why-
I didn't hear that.
Like,
so
did they get like did Sony release out a demo to just certain publishers with dev kits? That's very confusing to
I
me.
bet at this situation, those dev kits are unlocked with almost everything. They have access to so much because they probably wanted, information or whatever from these sites. So at that point, when they put something on the PlayStation Store, it could be locked, but these dev kits maybe bypass it. And at that point, they can download whatever they want, like an early Resident Evil. I don't know if these people got to play the Resident Evil 2 demo early or something like that. But
if anybody listening
know,
knows more about dev kits and how that all works, feel free to email us at madeupbarpodcast@gmail.com. I'd be happy to know more about that. I really don't know anything about that at all.
no, neither do I. But I mean, I'm pretty excited. Spawn Wave mentioned that apparently the demo is anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it's 10 gigs, and I guess the full game is going to be 73 gigs.
Wow.
nice.
See, I wasn't sure if that was big or small, so I was going to use Dan's reaction as kind of a guide for that. So, what are like some of the bigger games?
Grand Theft Auto.
Like how many gigs?
60.
Wow.
Yeah, most big
So
games
this-
are like
this
between
is
50
going
and
to be
60.
detailed, yeah.
And there's like a couple that are in the 80s
Red
and
Dead-
90s, but
Red Dead
very rare.
Redemption is like 90 or something.
The original?
Like that.
Or
no,
2?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, that would make
was
more
like 90
sense.
because it was 2 freaking discs.
Oh my God, that's right.
It was the only one.
That included the online too, so I don't know how much that
That's
factors
true.
into
That
it.
is true.
But without online, this is 73 gigs.
Yeah, so it's going to be highly detailed, and I'm pretty excited.
So Matt and I watched the intro shortly before this, and it's
Oh, I have not seen it yet.
it's exactly what you'd expect. It's just like the first minute?
Yeah, for
something
something
like
like
that.
It's pretty short. It's just
It's
not much.
Basically the first minute of the original game, just with prettier graphics.
Yeah, you see Ares with the
This is like your
flower,
dream come true.
So here,
and then you see
I'm in this.
them come off the train.
Yeah, I'm in this weird spot where obviously I'm over the moon excited for the game, but I'm not like, when I see things about it, I'm not like, oh my God, I can't wait. And I think that's just because so far what I've seen is just what I already assumed was going to be in the game, just prettier. I'm more excited about the things I don't know about the game, considering this is like a full-fledged game, and we already saw from that other trailer that there's definitely going to be a couple characters added to it that we've never met before. So I'm more curious about what they're changing, what's going to be different. But so far, everything I've seen, for the most part, has just been what I already assumed was going to be in the game.
Yeah, because they've just been showing us like the big splashes and punches of the boss fights in the intro, which is all exciting. But to me, and I'm sure this is important to you and a lot of people that play RPGs, is like the exploration and the discovering new things and kind of like learning about the world and
How
going to
open
new
is
areas.
Midgard
Yeah,
gonna be?
like finding secret treasure chests and talking to people and kind of leveling up. So all that kind of world building stuff, they really haven't shown at all.
I wonder what the so in the original FF7, you got items out of like these weird like little, they kind of look like futuristic briefcases. I wonder what those are going to look like.
I want
now.
to see the house that attacks you.
Oh yeah, that house that turns into the monster. Yeah,
Because I remember, because when I was playing it, Final Fantasy X, I think, was already out. So the graphics were better, but, not amazing. But still, it was like, I want to see, if they ever remake Final Fantasy VII, what would this particular character look like? So, does it have, eyes
is that what you're
with
most
windows?
excited for?
No, I'm just curious. I remember playing it and
You'll
being
find out in a
like,
couple
I
months.
cannot wait
Yeah.
to see this ridiculous house. And it was near a train station, right? Or a
No,
train
it was
yard?
it was between.
It's in the slums, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the
Yeah,
slums. It was
slums, okay.
in that weird kind of construction area near the swings, near the playground
Yeah.
that you fought him.
It'd be funny if you saw like a family inside watching TV.
That was actually that house monster.
It's your own house.
That was one of the fights that would freeze my original PS1. I really wasn't able to complete FF7 until I got my PS2 because the PS2 ran the discs better. The PS1, it kept it's not like there was an obnoxious amount of scratches or anything, but it kept freezing the game.
That sucks.
So Matt, what were your thoughts on all this news, like the demo and seeing the intro and stuff like that?
I don't know. I kind of feel like you, where it's like I don't know what to think. Like none of these are really super exciting for me because I already kind of got that excitement from the first initial release.
Yeah.
This is all stuff I know. Like I know how this game's gonna play the first 30 minutes. I'm gonna enjoy it, but like I don't need to see the first 30 minutes because I know it. The only real questions I have are how much of this game is in this first episode. That's I'm kind of scared of. How is the combat? Because I'm getting more concerned about the kind of action combat just because I was so disappointed by 15.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
did not
gonna
enjoy
ask you.
Kingdom Hearts. Like I enjoy RPGs that have that kind of turn-based, but if they could just speed it up somehow. So I'm kind of worried about that. Outside of that, like I really don't.
Well, they did say that there's 2 different fight modes, correct?
Oh, you can.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's-
can't you switch it?
You can switch it to wait, but I don't know how good that's going to be if it's because that seems
But at least you
maybe
have
I'm
that
being
option.
unfair, but it almost seems like an afterthought. Like this is how we want to play the game, the action mode, and then like we have a wait mode for people that just can't stand it.
Yeah, so you at that point
it
you'd
is
be able-
like a little like 15 where, because I remember in one of the demos, Tifa and Barrett were just doing their own thing and you were cloud fighting. So it's like, yeah, is it going to be more like, I hope it's going to be a little bit of, I felt the same way about, as you did about the 15 combat, where it's just like, I felt like I was button mashing. It kind of got boring. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like, I liked more, I like to be more tactful. So
Yeah, especially when I'm playing an RPG. So.
but yeah, I'm assuming that this demo and this whole thing, as much as it's giving us the fans like a little look at it, I think it's probably also to bring in some fresh blood into the thing as well. Like give everyone a demo of what it's going to be.
Yeah, because I wonder if they're trying to get people into this that maybe aren't into RPGs with that kind of more action focus.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would imagine they're just kind of get those kind of, I don't know if there's a better way to say, just like more casual players that don't play those.
Well, there's also a lot of people like Dan who prefer more of an action combat. They find turn-based to be a little boring and they want a little flavor. And yeah, I definitely get that. As long as it's fun. Like I don't care what they do for the combat as long as it's fun and I enjoy it. I don't want to just be button mashing the entire time, but game looks gorgeous, right, Dan? Dan's watching the demo right now, live.
I'm
yeah, it does look good.
just like I can easily see how they can make 60 hours of Midgar, of how huge it is.
Hopefully they make it like wide open, like you can go wherever you want.
Yeah, I can
like cities and like I just as it spanned out, I was like, oh, it's kind of
There is 8 sectors, then we only got to explore like a couple of them in the original game.
Yeah.
So maybe at that point they expanded out a little bit, maybe help people out. So I can easily see how, and I'm wondering where this will end, like at what point. Because I think that would also make it more interesting. There's a lot of characters that end up dying in like the first game, and it's like, oh, that could have been a really good bad guy. And in this one, I feel like if this is 3 games, which some people have been saying they think it's going to be 3.
I think that's just the assumption.
Yeah.
I think it's just the assumption because the original game had 3 discs.
But either way, I feel like when a bad guy survives and makes it to the next game, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes him feel stronger and like it's, just when you like I'm gonna beat you, and then you go to the end of the game and you just beat him. I like the fact that
Kind of a trilogy, like you're Darth Vader, this grand.
yeah, and he just doesn't
episodic
get
thing.
killed, and
I
finally
mean,
in the end,
I sort of just assumed it was going to end at the end of Midgar, like when you're about to leave the city.
Yeah, they might have to make
when
like
do
a
they
more
go to the
grandiose boss
Shinra Tower?
exit, though.
That's in Midgar.
that's in the first part.
Yeah.
So all right. So at that point, you probably will see.
I mean,
Sephiroth
most
at
of the
one
game
point.
I feel like happened in the first disc. So you can't cut it off at the end of the first disc if you're thinking of that whole story. But if they could make Midgar into like this huge open world in and of itself, I feel like that could be a full game.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
and this is I'm about to go into a bit of spoiler talk for the original game. So if you don't want to hear this, don't listen in. You were saying certain people die or don't die. The only person who died in that like first Midgar part was really just the president. He didn't really do anything in the grand scheme of things because then his son took over.
Oh, the fat guy, fatter.
The President Shinra, and then his son
the
Rufus took
blonde
over.
guy, yeah, took over.
Other than that, Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge died. 2 of those are Star Wars characters, which I always thought was funny. Biggs and Wedge were Star Wars side characters.
Wedge was a character in
They were-
Final Fantasy X for Blitzball.
Yeah, they're in like all the Final Fantasy.
I didn't
It's
know
kinda
that.
Sid
Kind of like
thing.
the Sid thing. Yeah, Biggs and Wedge were both X-wing
yeah,
pilots
Biggs too. Yeah,
in
that's funny.
the first Star Wars movie.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, not a lot of people really died in that first like Midgar
Well, maybe they could
part.
change.
But that is kind of like to what you were saying. Kind of again comparing it to Star Wars, you were saying kind of like maybe like how 4, 5, and 6 were for Star Wars. You could end this with the whole like, oh my god, Sephiroth's still alive, because you can go into maybe a bit of his backstory, a bit of the Crisis Core stuff in the first part of the remake, and then at the end be like, oh my god, Rufus has taken over, Sephiroth's still alive, we escaped on the motorcycle. Like, I feel like that's a pretty epic way to end the first part if this is a trilogy, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
But they do have to expand Midgar out enough to make it a full-fledged game.
Absolutely. And I mean, it would be even nice if you could get a little out of Midgar, maybe, and then just start it from there.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that, again, and one of the things I loved about those PlayStation Final Fantasies was going to the open world and exploring. Potentially, we won't have any of that in this first game.
Well, yeah, but they might turn Midgar itself into an open world, though.
So it looks like I said, when they just did that pan out of Midgar and all the streets and how they were connected, and I saw them walking through the streets in another demo.
Like, what if you can actually take the subway places and go around Midgar and actually explore all the places that we didn't see in the first one? I mean,
73
again, this
gigs
is just
worth?
speculation.
Well,
Yeah, that'd be
73 gigs
interesting.
worth. I mean, it's not going to be a tiny little place. It's going to be freaking massive.
Or they are opening it up.
That'd be nice if there was like almost Witcher 3 level side quests with new characters that have you go through kind of like a 2 or 3 hour story. That'd be. That's probably maybe hoping for too much, but
What's
I
the
guess
next
it's
town
possible.
that you go to after that?
Well, it opens up into the big world, and then you go to this like little I want to something
like-
Heim.
You go to the Chocobo. Don't you go to the Chocobo barn? And then
Before
you go
that,
to the.
before that, you go to the little town, and Cloud explains the entire backstory.
Oh
of
yeah, his like where he grew up.
Sephiroth and where he grew up and all that stuff. So you're in there just to kind of like collect items and do that, and then you go to the Chocobo, and then you go through. Once you get the Chocobo, you go through the fog, go through the cave, and then I think that's when you go to Cloud's original hometown for the first time. Is past that part, maybe.
I don't. I've played.
It's getting a little foggy
yeah, it's
after
getting
that.
foggy because
Can you tell I've beaten it?
I haven't
several
played
times?
it since before 2015 when they announced it. I swore off playing it again to wait for this.
I have not. I've been wanting to try it,
definitely
but I
have.
was like, I don't remember a lot of the game, so I'm very excited to go back and play it. And I'm trying to avoid all gameplay that I possibly can. I am going to try to play the demo just because I want to understand the mechanics of it and I want to be good at it.
Yeah, I mean, I more or less have, I haven't seen any of the trailers more than like once, to be honest, except
me
for that
either.
first one that came
Well,
out.
there's like an hour and a half of like gameplay of like different sections, and it's
See,
like
I haven't
I don't
seen
want
any
to
of
know
that.
that.
It's all, like,
I kind of want to
Japanese, though, right?
experience this. I just want to experience this all at once, just because
Yeah.
this was one of the very few games that kind of left me like, what, like at the end, for the entire game.
Yeah.
Way ahead of its
Yeah,
time.
and I've played it so many times that it's hard for me not to remember everything about the game, because I remember pretty much all of it.
Yeah,
But that might be the exciting part for you, is those subtle changes. You'll know that. I won't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember that. I'll be like, oh, did that guy die? Oh, whoops, I didn't remember.
That's actually something I'm struggling with. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think about? Is this a time where people that are listening to this would want to play through that first one again to get an idea, so that then when they go to it, they can see all the differences and see all the growth? Or
That
do you
was-
think you should go into it blind and like kind of see it almost?
I feel like someone will do a
Almost
video
newer.
of like
feel
the
like
differences.
if there's someone who's either A, not played it since the 90s, or B, never played it at all, I feel like it's better just to go in blind. But for all the hardcore fans, like if I think it's good to get a refresher. Like even me, who knows everything about it, has restarted the game both on the PS4 and the Switch because I'm insane.
Yeah, or maybe just to like play through Midgar, which wouldn't take as long to
It
see.
really
what
does.
What it's
Playing
like.
through Midgard, like it's surprising. Like when I was a kid, I always have this memory of it being like a very huge piece of the game. But then you play it now, it's like, oh, that was only like 2-3 hours, the entirety of Midgar, which we're speculating is
The entire
all of
game.
the first part of the remake. So it's funny that they're taking like 2 to 3 hours and turning it into this like.
I wonder if they're teasing a little bit more. I'm wondering if you're going to be able to go out into the next area after that.
Well, the next area after that was opening up the entire world. Now, technically it was a little less than that, because they kept like kind of making it so you needed certain vehicles and certain things to get to like kind of the next part. Like, in order to get to the next area, you needed a chocobo. You need a kind of this broken down plane or something
Buggy
like that to get to
and-
the buggy, and then eventually you get the high wind in the end. You can go anywhere. So I don't know. They might. I'm kind of hoping it's just Midgar, because to me that means, oh my god, if they can turn that small portion into this big, that means the rest of the game is going to be even more big, and I just want more Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, Final Fantasy
see.
15 was able to make huge open plains And then at that point, you would have to believe that with Final Fantasy 15 succeeding and finally being able to ride your chocobo around and like attack and everything, that you would be able to do this in this game, like with your squad, like get a bunch of them run around. But
it should be pretty fun. Can't wait. It's good that it's actually happening. It doesn't seem like it's going to get pushed back or anything like that any longer than it already has.